The latest emotional storyline in Coronation Street has gripped fans, with the heartbreaking death of Paul Foreman, Peter Ash, and the ensuing grief of his loved ones. Paul's motor neurone disease journey, which began almost 18 months ago, came to a tragic end, leaving a deep impact on the community, especially his husband Billy Mayhew, Daniel Brocklebank. Paul's condition had been steadily worsening, moving from a loss of mobility to difficulty with speech. In his final days, Billy's devotion to Paul was evident, but the stress and exhaustion had taken a toll on him. Monday's episode saw Billy spending his last night before Paul's death out with his friends, taking a break from the intensity of his caregiving duties. When Billy returned home the next morning, hungover and disoriented, he realized he had lost his phone. Panic set in as Billy realized that he hadn't backed up any of his treasured memories of Paul, such as photos and videos, to the cloud. In desperation, Billy and David Platt, Jack P. Shepard, set out on a frantic search to find the phone, as the gravity of the situation weighed heavily on Billy. Meanwhile, Paul's condition was rapidly deteriorating. At home, Paul's mother Bernie, Jane Hasselgrove, tried to contact Billy, but to no avail. Bernie could see that her son's time was running out, but Billy was still unaware of the urgency. The race to the hospital was a dramatic moment for Billy. After getting stuck in a congested car park, blocked by a broken-down van, Billy realized his only option was to make his way on foot. He ran through the streets, desperately trying to reach Paul in time. Sadly, as Billy made his way to the hospital, Paul passed away. In a heartbreaking twist, when Billy picked up his phone, Bernie, thinking she was sparing Billy more pain, told him that Paul was still alive and could hear him. Billy believed that Paul had heard his voice in his final moments, which provided him with some comfort, unaware of the lie. Tuesday's episode revealed the fallout from Paul's death as the grief-stricken characters attempted to come to terms with their loss. Paul's twin sister, Gemma, Dolly Rose Campbell, broke the devastating news to her young children, while Bernie was already at Shuttleworth's funeral parlor, organizing her son's final journey. Billy, still in shock, couldn't bring himself to leave his home, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the loss. Meanwhile, Todd Grinshaw, Gareth Pierce, sensing tension between Billy and Bernie, grew concerned that Bernie had gone ahead with funeral plans without consulting Billy. As Todd tried to bring some peace between them, a deeper truth about the final moments of Paul's life began to unravel. When Billy finally emerged from his flat, the full weight of his grief hit him once more, particularly when he entered the cafe where he had first met Paul. Trying to find solace in the belief that Paul had heard his voice, Billy asked Summer, Harriet Bibby, how Paul had reacted. Summer, caught off guard and unable to tell the truth, struggled for words. Sensing her discomfort, Todd quickly stepped in, assuring Billy that Paul was happy and at peace. However, Billy, still plagued with questions, continued pressing for details. Back at the flat, Bernie further perpetuated the lie, telling Billy that Paul had died with a smile on his face. As grief swirled around them, tensions rose, and a row broke out between Bernie and Billy. Both, overwhelmed by their sorrow, lashed out, unable to cope with the weight of their collective grief. Todd stepped in once more, urging them to come together rather than fight. Yet the truth about the phone call continued to loom large. Later, after some reflection, Billy and Bernie agreed to put their differences aside, understanding that their grief was leading them to snap at one another. However, the secrets surrounding Paul's final moments and the lie about Billy's last conversation with him threatens to surface. Todd, holding the key to this devastating truth, now faces a moral dilemma. Will he be the one to expose the lie, or will he protect Billy from the added heartache of knowing that Paul had already passed when he spoke to him? As emotions run high and relationships fray, it seems that this story is far from over, and more hurt could be just around the corner for Billy, Bernie, and the rest of Paul's grieving family.